Making connections. This lesson highlights the context of making connections as a skill in reading or viewing that links what the learners read and viewed to what they already know or experience. This helps readers in comprehending texts, passages, videos, and pictures read or viewed by activating prior knowledge and making meaning of what they read or viewed. There are three ways on how a learner can make connections. The first one is text to self. It is connections that are highly personal connections that a reader makes between a piece of reading material and the reader's own experiences or life. Example: this story reminds me of a vacation we took to my grandfather's farm. Second, text to text. Text to text connections occur when readers are reminded of what they have read, viewed with the other books by the same author, stories from similar text types, or perhaps on the same topic. Readers gain insight during reading by thinking about how the information they are reading connect to other familiar texts. Example: this character has the same problem that I read about in a story last year. Next, text to world. Text to world connections are the larger connections that a reader brings to a reading situation. This allows the reader's ideas about how the world works that goes far beyond own personal experiences. We learn about things through television, movies, magazines, and newspapers. Often, it is the text-to-world connections that teachers are trying to enhance when they teach lessons in science, social studies, and literature. Example: I saw a program on television that talked about things described in this article. Making connections is truly vital as a comprehension skill, since it is how you relate and connect what you heard, read, and viewed. Moreover, it enhances your understanding of the text passages or videos you read or viewed. Let's take this picture as another example for you to understand the competency at hand learning. Say for example, this one is learning task number 4. Examine the picture below, then we're going to answer the question that follow. So, what does this remind me of my life? So that's the first question. The second one is how will you relate or connect the picture to your growth and development? And lastly, how is it also connected to what is happening in the world today? Okay, so this is the answer. So making connections with self, like the chicken, I also grew from a baby to a healthy big boy now, and as time goes by, I will continue to grow until I reach the peak of my growth. The second one, making connections to the world. Like the chicken, I learned that the earth continues to grow older and time will come, it will be weakened by what we are doing, so we need to take good care of it. And last one, making connections to the text. So how will you make connections to the text? I also learned from one of our lessons in science that even plants grow from young to old. Text to self. Here are some of the common questions that you can ask in connecting personal experience to what you read or viewed. The first one, what does this remind me of something in my life? The second one, what is this similar to in my life? Third, how is this different from my life? Fourth, has something like this ever happened to me? Fifth, how does this relate to my life? And sixth, what were my feelings when I read this? Next, have I changed my thinking as a result of reading this? And next, what have I learned? Are there similarities, differences in my life, holidays I have been on, feelings I have had, my family, things I have seen, a place I have been, my friends, and my experiences? So, text to text. Here are some of the common questions that you can ask in connecting text, picture, video you read or viewed to another text. What does this remind me of in another book, picture, video I've read or viewed? How is this text, picture, video similar to other things I've read or viewed? How is this different from other books, texts, picture, videos I've read or viewed? Have I read about something like this before? Or are there similarities, differences in topic, character, vocabulary, theme, fact, message, opinion, plot, or information? Next, text to world. Connecting real-world happenings to texts. What does this remind me of in the real world? How is this text similar to things that happen in the real world? How is this different from things that happen in the real world? How did the part relate to the world around me? Are there similarities, differences in current events, local situation, news story, daily conversation, and etc.? Point of view. In establishing connections, understanding point of view is also important. Remember that point of view can be in the first person, second person, or third person. First person is used when I or we are used in persuading people. Example, when I used this shampoo, it made my hair the softest and the shiniest of all. Second person, the story or advertisement is told by you. Example, you can have a long, shiny black hair once you use this shampoo daily. And for the third person, the story or advertisement is told about he or she. Example, she has the shiniest and the longest hair ever with this shampoo. So let us read this one. Bounce back. Typhoon Ambo, the first typhoon in 2020, has brought heavy rains and strong winds that made the denuded and low-lying areas covered with floods. Some properties were destroyed, leaving people with nothing but hunger. Most of them were from Region 4A Calabarzon, especially those from the southern part of the Quezon who were hit by this typhoon with the classification of TSWS or signal number 3. This typhoon damaged not only their properties but even their sources of living. Their crops were washed out. Houses and even livestock were greatly affected. Yet, they were strong and pliant people who remained positive amidst this catastrophic event brought by this natural calamity. Consequently, their faith in the most powerful Creator remained supreme, believing that they could recover in the soonest possible time in this true test of their well-being. Finally, they repaired their houses and other properties and regained control of their livestock and crops. So for your learning task 5, so in your notebook, what are you going to do is to complete the activity sheet below by showing connections between your personal experiences and the story that you read. So in the text, discuss or state a part of the previous text you read that are related to your experiences in terms of the calamity mentioned. Example, the people in the text experience a strong typhoon. In my life, what does this event remind me in my life? Example, this reminded me of my experience when our place was hit by the same typhoon that brought worries to me because of the strong wind that almost destroyed our roofs. Another example, the name of the typhoon in the text was Ambo. This reminded me of my experience of Typhoon Ondoy way back year 2009, where flood was inside our house and we need to stay on the rooftop the whole day. Okay? So what is this similar to why is this similar to me? And how is this different from my life? So you're going to answer that question. Next, learning task number 6. Study the pictures below, then complete the task in your notebook by showing the connections with your personal experiences. So the story here is the scenic view of the rice field. It soothes and brightens the feeling of a tired farmer every time he will see the beauty of his hard work. Its greenery and fresh air truly wipes away all his worries. In the text, all you have to do is to discuss or state a part of the text above that are related to your experiences. In your life, what does this event remind me in my life? What is this similar to in my life? And how is this different from my life? Example, in the text, greenery and fresh air truly wipes away all his worries. So how does this event remind me in my life? Example, this reminded me of our road trip to Mabitac, Laguna, where I always open the window of the car and inhale the fresh air coming from the huge trees. The scenery is very pleasing to my eyes and it wipes away all my worries. Next, for learning task number 7, read and analyze the text below. In your notebook, write its connection to your personal experiences, to your community, or to the world by completing the table below. Example, the global pandemic. Recently, the globe was alarmed with the outbreak of the new coronavirus known as COVID-19. This posed alarm to all the inhabitants of the earth. At present, it continues to affect millions of people, weakening their immune system. No vaccine is yet discovered, so people are advised to stay indoor and observe minimum health protocols set by the World Health Organization or the WHO, the WHO. This does not only affect people's health, but so with great economic losses among the countries it hits, resulting to unemployment, hunger, death toll, and increase in prices of prime commodities, making humans to suffer. So, what are you going to do is to answer this me, my community, and the world. So, what is the selection's connection to me? So, for example, I stay indoor because I am afraid of the coronavirus outbreak. How about to my community? There is no vaccine yet discovered in our community, and to the world, it alarms all the inhabitants of the earth. Okay, so those only were example. Next, for learning task number 8, study the picture below. So you're going to look at the picture, so you can see on your monitor, and all you have to do is to think of its connection to your community, to yourself, and to the world. So all you have to do is to write your answers in your notebook. So what is the picture's connection to? So for example, only. So all of us have our own perspective with this picture. So for me, I need plants for food and it gives me fresh air. So for my community need plants for food and it helps clean the air. To the world, the whole world needs plants to survive. Okay, so those only were example. Next, for learning task number 9, so all you have to do is to study the picture below, read a short passage, then answer the questions that follow. So write your answers in your notebook. Air pollution. So Mother Earth is continuously dying due to so much pollution caused by humans. Global temperature rises due to much of chlorofluorocarbons or the CFS that are emitted to the atmosphere by varied human activities like the release of toxic wastes coming from factories and vehicles, use of aerosol materials coming from varied sprays and other harmful activities. So all you have to do is to answer the following questions. What does this phenomenon remind you in your life? What experience is similar to your life experiences? And how is this different from your life? Has something like this ever happened to you? How does this relate to your life? What were your feelings when you see and read this text? Have you changed your thinking as a result of seeing and reading this? So those are the questions that you need to answer on the learning task number 9.